The night sky over Earth was quiet, but high above the clouds. A small alien ship moved without a sound. Inside, a young scout named Rena watched her screen. She was from a distant planet called Varnus, where emotions were not allowed and logic ruled everything. Her mission was simple: land, observe humans, collect information, and leave. Varnan leaders believed humans were wild and unstable, but Rena had always been curious. What made humans so different? Why were they not like other species? As she flew over forests and rivers, her ship suddenly beeped. A red warning flashed across her screen. System failure. Engine unstable. Rena sat up straight. She tried to control the ship, but it shook and dropped lower. Trees came closer, fast. She hit the emergency shield, braced herself, and the ship crashed deep into a mountain forest. Sparks flew. Smoke filled the air. Rena pushed open the hatch and fell into the grass. Her arm was burned and her leg was weak, but she was alive. Her ship was damaged. The communication device was broken. Her species wouldn't hear from her anytime soon. She tried to stand but fell again. That's when she heard footsteps, heavy ones. Someone was coming. Tamil, a quiet young man who lived alone in the mountains, had heard the crash. He worked as a mechanic and fixed broken machines in his small workshop. When the ground shook, he ran toward the sound with a flashlight in hand. He reached the smoking site and stopped. There, in the middle of broken trees and metal pieces, was a figure, not quite human, but not fully alien either. She had soft gray-blue skin, large dark eyes, and silver hair that moved like threads of light. She was trying to crawl away but fell again. Tamil didn't move. She looked at him, afraid but too tired to run. He slowly raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're hurt." Rena didn't understand all his words, but his voice was calm. She expected fear or shouting. Instead, he stepped forward and carefully picked her up. Her body was light. He felt the heat from her burns. She didn't fight him. Her energy was fading. Tamil carried her back to his cabin. Inside the small wooden cabin, Rena lay on a soft bed. Tamil worked quickly, cleaning her wounds and wrapping her arm. She watched him quietly. Her people never touched each other like this. Healing was done by machines. No one ever sat beside another and whispered comforting words. "Don't worry. You'll be all right." Rena blinked. His words meant little, but his tone meant everything. She tried to speak, but her voice was dry. He handed her a glass of water. She hesitated, then drank. The cabin was warm. A fire burned in the corner. Old machines filled the room, and tools hung on the walls. Tamil sat beside her, checking the burn again. "You're not from here. That's clear," he said. "But I won't hurt you. You're safe." Rena stared at him. She was trained to stay distant, to never trust a non-Varnan. But she couldn't deny what she felt: confusion, curiosity, and a strange calmness. The next morning, Tamil brought soup. Rena had healed fast thanks to her alien body but still needed rest. He tried speaking again, using slow words and signs. "Food. Eat," he said, pointing to the bowl. Rena slowly nodded. She took the spoon and tasted it. Her eyes widened. It was warm, full of flavor, unlike the bland energy cubes of Varnan. Tamil smiled. "Not bad, right?" She looked at him and gave a tiny nod. He didn't know, but for her kind. Even a small nod meant a lot. For the next few days, Rena stayed hidden in the cabin. Her suit helped her recover. She explored the cabin silently. While Tamil worked outside, she saw how he treated his tools with care. He fed birds every morning. He fixed a broken radio for an old neighbor and left it at their door. He didn't ask questions. He didn't demand answers. He only helped out at night. He'd sit near the fire and read. Sometimes he played soft music. Rena sat quietly in a corner, listening. Her recorder, still working, stored every moment. Subject shows unusual kindness, no sign of fear. Behavior is peaceful, curious. She noted in her device, but part of her knew she wasn't just recording him. She was beginning to observe her own feelings too. One night, a storm hit the mountain. Thunder rolled, and wind shook the cabin. Rena stood at the window, watching trees sway wildly. Tamil walked up beside her. Don't be afraid. The house is strong. She looked at him. Not afraid, she said slowly, her first words in his language. He looked surprised. You spoke. Rena nodded. Learning. He smiled. That's good. I'll teach you more if you want. She looked at him, this simple human who gave without asking, who smiled without reason. Why does he make me feel this way? She thought. Back on Varnus, emotions were seen as weakness. But here, in this small cabin, surrounded by kindness and silence, Rena began to wonder what if they were wrong. That night, she didn't record a report. Instead, she sat near the fire with Tamil. He offered her a blanket. She didn't need it, but she took it anyway. For the first time in her life, Rena felt something she couldn't name. Not fear, not confusion. Something warmer. And deep inside, a quiet voice whispered, Human, what did you do to me? Rena woke early, before the sun had fully risen. Soft light came through the small cabin window. She lay still, listening. Outside, birds chirped. Inside, everything was quiet, except the sound of slow breathing from the other room. She sat up, her leg now strong again. The burns on her arm had healed faster than expected, thanks to her advanced skin repair patch. But her mind, her thoughts felt heavier than ever. Back on her home planet, days were cold, clear, and organized. But here, every moment felt different. Time moved slowly, filled with strange feelings she didn't understand. She stood up and walked around the cabin. On the wooden shelf were books, some tools, and old photographs. One photo showed Tamil as a child, standing beside a woman with kind eyes and a man with strong hands. They looked happy. Rena gently touched the photo frame. She had never seen such emotion on her people's faces. They didn't take pictures. They didn't smile. She turned and looked around again. On the wall near the fire hung a jacket. A pair of boots stood near the door. On the small table sat a half-finished wooden carving, a bird with its wings open. Every item in this place told her something about Tamil. He was alone, but not broken. He lived simply, but with care. He didn't talk much, but his actions spoke, louder than words, and she couldn't understand why, but just being here made her feel safe. Later that morning, Tamil stepped into the cabin, wiping his hands on a cloth. Good morning, he said. Rena nodded. Morning. He smiled. You're learning fast. She gave a small smile back. It still felt strange to move her lips. That way, he set down a small basket of apples from the trees near the river. They're sweet. Want to try? She took one, looked at it carefully, and bit. The juice surprised her. It was crisp, full of flavor. She had eaten fruits from other planets before, but none like this. Tamil sat across from her. You don't have to stay hidden. No one comes here. I'm safe here, she asked slowly. He nodded. Yes. Safe. Rena lowered the apple and looked at him. Why help me? Tamil leaned back, thinking. I guess it's just the right thing to do. You were hurt. Anyone would have helped. Not anyone, she said quietly. He looked at her with interest. Where you come from? People don't help. Rena shook her head. Not without reason. Tamil didn't speak. He simply nodded, understanding in his eyes. He didn't press her for answers. That silence made her trust him more than any question ever could. Each day, Rena learned more about human life. She watched how Tamil worked repairing broken machines, cleaning tools, cooking food. He explained everything in simple words. This is a wrench. This is called a kettle. This is how we light a fire. Rena listened closely. She wanted to understand it all, not because of her mission, but because she wanted to be part of this world, even for a short time. Sometimes, she helped him fix small parts. Her hands moved fast, and her mind understood machine logic easily. Tamil was impressed. You're good at this, he said one day. She smiled. I learn fast. He laughed lightly. Yeah, you do. That laugh, calm, gentle, natural, made her heart feel strange again. Not painful, just different. A warmth in her chest she couldn't explain. One evening, it began to rain. Heavy drops hit the roof. Thunder rolled in the distance. Tamil sat near the fire, carving the wooden bird again. Rena sat on the floor beside him. Watching the flames dance. She spoke softly. Your world has feeling. Tamil paused. Feeling. Rena nodded. Sound of rain, fire, music. Smile. All have feeling. Tamil looked at her, his eyes curious. Your world doesn't? She shook her head. My world, cold. No touch. No smiles. No music. He put down the carving. That sounds lonely. She thought for a moment. We don't know lonely. We just do what we are told. Tamil picked up the small radio and turned a knob. Soft music filled the room. A gentle melody played, with no words, just sound. Rena listened, her eyes wide. What is this? She asked. Music, he replied. We play it when we feel things, happy, sad, or just quiet inside. She closed her eyes and let the sound fill her. Her breathing slowed. Her thoughts became soft. I feel something, she whispered. Tamil smiled. That's good. It means you're human enough. Her eyes opened. I'm not human, no, he said. But you don't need to be one to feel. His words stayed in her mind like the music stayed. In the air. Later that night, after he had gone to sleep, Rena stepped outside. The rain had stopped. The moon was high, and the stars were clear. She looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there was her home planet. She could not see it, but she knew it waited. Her people would wonder where she was. They would expect a report, but she hadn't sent one in days. She looked down at her recorder. Her fingers hovered over the button. Then slowly, she pressed record. Scout. Rena, speaking. Location, Earth. Subject, human interaction. Has changed course. I am still observing, but emotions are forming. I do not understand all of them, but I want to. She paused. Her voice shook a little. Human name Tamil is different. He helps without asking. He smiles without reason. He shares his world, even when he does not know. Mine. She stopped the recording and placed the device back in her bag. Then, for the first time in her life, she whispered to the stars, not as a scout, but as something new. Human, what did you do to me? The sun was low in the sky. A warm breeze moved through the trees outside Tamil's cabin. Inside, Rena stood near the table, watching a small machine she had hidden inside her travel pack. It was her locator beacon, a device from Varna's meant for emergencies. The device had been silent since the crash, but now, a soft blue light was blinking, slowly, repeating. Rena stared at it for a long moment. It meant only one thing. Her people had found her. That evening, she sat near the fire, quiet and still. Tamil brought her tea and sat beside her. You're quiet today, he said. Rena looked at the fire. Signal. Came. He turned to her. Signal. She hesitated. Then she pointed toward her bag. My people, they call me back. Tamil didn't speak right away. His hands rested on his knees. You want to go? He asked softly. She shook her head. I don't know. Tamil looked into the flames. I figured you weren't from around here, but I hoped you'd stay a little longer. Rena didn't know what to say. Her mind was full of questions. Her heart, too. I must decide, she said after a moment. But I need time. Tamil nodded. You'll have it. Later that night, Rena stood outside. The moon lit the trees in silver. She held the beacon in her hand. It was still blinking, still waiting. She could press a single button and send her location. A rescue ship would come. She would return to Varnas. Everything would go back to normal. But she knew that wasn't true. She wasn't the same as before. Something inside her had changed. She couldn't explain it. She just knew. She looked at the beacon and said quietly, not yet. She placed it back inside her bag and returned to the cabin. The next day, while Tamil worked in the shed, Rena helped him clean old parts. She liked how he trusted her with everything. He showed her how to fix small engines, and she taught him a few things to quietly. With simple words and hands. In the afternoon, he showed her a broken drone. This used to fly. He said, smiling, but it hasn't worked in years. Rena took it carefully. I can fix. Tommel raised an eyebrow. Really? She nodded. Your tech is simple. I understand it. He laughed. All right, let's see. They spent hours working on it together. Rena used a tiny tool from her bag, a sharp device with energy flow. Tommel watched her with wonder. That's not from Earth, is it? He asked. No, she replied. Without fear. He smiled. Didn't think so. By sunset, the drone lifted off the table and hovered in the air. Tommel clapped and laughed. You did it? Rena smiled, a real smile. It felt good. But the peace didn't last. That night, while Rena was outside looking at the stars, a strange noise echoed through the forest. She turned. Her eyes narrowed. It was not wind, not thunder. It was a pulse deep and low, a sound only. Her kind could hear. Her skin felt cold. She reached for her wristband. The signal was active. They were here. A small scout ship had entered Earth's airspace. It was invisible to human eyes but clear to her. Her heart beat faster. Her people were coming not just to rescue, but to recover her. And if they found Tommel, they might see him as a threat. She ran back inside. Tommel, she said firmly. He looked up. What is it? She took a deep breath. My people are here. They come for me. But if they see you, they may hurt you. He stood slowly. What do we do? I must hide you. They can't see you. Tommel looked serious, but calm. I'm not leaving you. You must listen, she said. They're not like you. They don't understand kindness. They follow rules, orders. If they see you, they will not ask questions. Tommel grabbed a bag. I can hide in the old root cellar. Rena nodded. Stay there. Wait for my signal. Only come out when I say. He looked at her, then gently placed a hand on her shoulder. Be careful. I will, she replied. The Varn scout ship landed silently in a clearing not far from the cabin. 3 figures stepped out tall, with smooth gray suits and silver helmets. Rena met them at the edge of the trees. Scout Rena, one of them said. Your silence was noted. We are here to retrieve you. I had damage, she said. Ship destroyed. I survived. You were late to report. I needed time to repair. Time with humans? The leader asked, his voice cold. Rena stood tall. I observed one. He was useful. He did not harm me. That was not the mission. Observation only. No contact. I had no choice, she replied. They looked at her. We will erase the memory of the human. Then we return. No, she said suddenly. Her voice was strong. They stared at her. I protected him. He helped me. I won't allow harm. You speak as if you care. She looked them in the eyes. Maybe I do. Silence, the leader. Step forward. You are no longer stable. You are infected with human emotion. Rena didn't move. If that is true, then let me go. We can't let a changed scout return to Varnus. Then exile me. The leader paused. Exile means no return. I understand. Another pause. Very well, you stay. But you are no longer one of us. They turned and walked back to their ship. The vessel lifted without sound and vanished into the stars. Rena stood alone in the clearing for a long time. Her hands trembled. She was no longer Varnan. She had no home, no rank, no duty. Only choice. She walked back to the cabin slowly. Tommel came out of hiding when she called. What happened? He asked. They left, she said. I am no longer one of them. He looked at her. You're staying. She nodded. If you will let me. Tommel stepped forward. Of course, Rena looked at the sky once more, then at Tommel. She didn't speak, but her heart did. She had made her choice. The night was still. The forest around Tommel's cabin was quiet except for the soft rustle of leaves in the wind. Rena stood near the edge of the trees, her eyes scanning the dark shadows. The small device in her hand pulsed with a faint blue, like her last link to Varnus, though she no longer belonged there. Suddenly, a faint sound broke the silence, a soft hum, almost like a whisper. She turned toward the noise and saw bright lights slicing through the trees. A small ship landed silently in the clearing nearby. Rena's heart beat faster. It was the Varnan recovery team. They had come for her and for Tommel. Inside the cabin, Tommel was fixing a broken radio. The soft beep of the device filled the room as it hummed back to life. He didn't notice the faint glow from outside or the sudden stillness that fell over the forest. Rena entered quietly. "They are here." Tamil looked up, his eyes serious. "What do we do?" She took a deep breath. "I must stop them. I cannot let them take you." Tamil stood. "We will face this together." She shook her head. "No. This is my fight." Outside, the recovery team stepped from their ship. They were smooth, silver suits that covered them from head to toe. Their faces were hidden behind helmets that reflected the moonlight. They moved with calm precision. One of them spoke into a small device. "Locate human subject. Protect or eliminate as necessary." Rena stepped forward from the shadows, holding her hands up. "I will not allow harm." The leader turned toward her. "You are to return. You have failed your mission. I have chosen to protect this human." Rena said firmly. The leader's voice was cold. "Then you are disobeying orders." Rena's eyes flashed. "I'm no longer your scout." A tense silence filled the clearing. Then, without warning, the recovery team raised their hands. Energy shields appeared around them, glowing faintly blue. Rena quickly activated her own shield, one she had taken from her ship's control panel. It was strong, meant only for leaders, but now it was her only defense. The two sides faced each other, glowing shields ready. Rena's mind raced. She thought of Tamil, alone inside the cabin. She could not let these strangers hurt him. The leader stepped forward, voice calm but sharp. "Stand down, or we will use force." "I will not." Rena replied. Suddenly, the leader raised his arm, and a beam of energy shot toward her shield. The shield shimmered but held firm. Rena pushed back with a wave of force, sending the attacker stumbling. The others moved quickly, surrounding her. She fought with skill, blocking their attacks, using her speed and strength. The clearing lit up with flashes of blue and silver light. Trees shook, leaves fell. But Rena stood strong. She was protecting more than herself now. She was protecting a new world. Inside the cabin, Tamil heard the sounds of struggle outside. He grabbed a wooden staff and stepped outside, ready to help. He saw the glowing shields and the strange battle. His heart pounded. "Rena," he called. She looked at him and nodded. "Stay back." Tamil obeyed but stayed close. The fight continued. 4 minutes. Rena used every skill she had learned on Varnus and added her new strength, her feelings for Tamil. Her love for this place. She blocked, dodged, and pushed forward, refusing to let the recovery team win. One attacker fell back, injured. The others hesitated. The leader's side. "This is not over." He gave a sharp command. The team retreated, disappearing into the night. Rena dropped her shield and sank to the ground. Breathing hard, Tamil rushed to her side. "You did it," he said, helping her up. She smiled weakly. "For you, I will fight for you." He looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "You are stronger than I thought." She laughed softly. "Stronger because of you." That night, as the fire burned low, Rena and Tamil sat close. "I am no longer a scout," she said. "I am something new, something they do not understand." Tamil took her hand. "You don't have to be like them. You can be yourself." She looked into his eyes. "What is myself?" "Someone who cares, someone who loves, someone who chooses." Rena's heart beat fast. "I choose you." He smiled, squeezing her hand. "And I choose you." The next day, Rena worked on strengthening her defenses. She repaired parts of her old ship, hoping to make a safe place for both of them if the recovery team returned. Tamil helped, bringing tools and wood. Together, they worked side by side, learning from each other. Though she was still an alien, she felt more human every day. Weeks passed. The forest remained quiet. The recovery team did not return. Rena and Tamil built a life together, sharing stories, music, and hoped out. Though danger still waited in the stars, they knew they would face it together. Because now, their hearts belonged to each other. The night was still. The forest around Tamil's cabin was quiet except for the soft rustle of leaves in the wind. Rena stood near the edge of the trees, her eyes scanning the dark shadows. The small device in her hand pulsed with a faint blue. Like her last link to Varnus, though she no longer belonged there. Suddenly, a faint sound broke the silence, a soft hum, almost like a whisper. She turned toward the noise and saw bright lights slicing through the trees. A small ship landed silently in the clearing nearby. Rena's heart beat faster. It was the Varn recovery team. They had come for her and for Tommel. Inside the cabin, Tommel was fixing a broken radio. The soft beep of the device filled the room as it hummed back to life. He didn't notice the faint glow from outside or the sudden stillness that fell over the forest. Rena entered quietly. "They are here." Tommel looked up, his eyes serious. "What do we do?" She took a deep breath. "I must stop them. I cannot. Let them take you." Tommel stood. "We will face this together." She shook her head. "No. This is my fight." Outside, the recovery team stepped from their ship. They were smooth, silver suits that covered them from head to toe. Their faces were hidden behind helmets that reflected the moonlight. They moved with calm precision. One of them spoke into a small device. "Locate human subject. Protect or eliminate as necessary." Rena stepped forward from the shadows, holding her hands up. "I will not allow harm." The leader turned toward her. "You are to return. You have failed your mission. I have chosen to protect this human." Rena said firmly. The leader's voice was cold. "Then you are disobeying orders." Rena's eyes flashed. "I'm no longer your scout." A tense silence filled the clearing. Then, without warning, the recovery team raised their hands. Energy shields appeared around them, glowing faintly blue. Rena quickly activated her own shield, one she had taken from her ship's control panel. It was strong, meant only for leaders, but now it was her only defense. The two sides faced each other, glowing shields ready. Rena's mind raced. She thought of Tommel, alone inside the cabin. She could not let these strangers hurt him. The leader stepped forward, voice calm but sharp. "Stand down, or we will use force." "I will not," Rena replied. Suddenly, the leader raised his arm, and a beam of energy shot toward her shield. The shield shimmered but held firm. Rena pushed back with a wave of force, sending the attacker stumbling. The others moved quickly, surrounding her. She fought with skill, blocking their attacks, using her speed and strength. The clearing lit up with flashes of blue and silver light. Trees shook, leaves fell. But Rena stood strong. She was protecting more than herself now. She was protecting a new world. Inside the cabin, Tommel heard the sounds of struggle outside. He grabbed a wooden staff and stepped outside, ready to help. He saw the glowing shields and the strange battle. His heart pounded. "Rena," he called. She looked at him and nodded. "Stay back." Tommel obeyed but stayed close. The fight continued. 4 minutes. Rena used every skill she had learned on Varnus and added her new strength, her feelings for Tommel. Her love for this place. She blocked, dodged, and pushed forward, refusing to let the recovery team win. One attacker fell back, injured. The others hesitated. The leader's side. "This is not over." He gave a sharp command. The team retreated, disappearing into the night. Rena dropped her shield and sank to the ground. Breathing hard, Tommel rushed to her side. "You did it," he said, helping her up. She smiled weakly. "For you, I will fight for you." He looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "You are stronger than I thought." She laughed softly. "Stronger because of you." That night, as the fire burned low, Rena and Tommel sat close. "I am no longer a scout," she said. "I am something new, something they do not understand." Tommel took her hand. "You don't have to be like them. You can be yourself." She looked into his eyes. "What is myself?" "Someone who cares, someone who loves, someone who chooses." Rena's heart beat fast. "I choose you." He smiled, squeezing her hand. "And I choose you." The next day, Rena worked on strengthening her defenses. She repaired parts of her old ship, hoping to make a safe place for both of them if the recovery team returned. Tommel helped, bringing tools and wood. Together, they worked side by side, learning from each other. Though she was still an alien, she felt more human every day. Weeks passed. The forest remained quiet. The recovery team did not return. Rena and Tom will build a life together, sharing stories, music, and hoped out though danger still waited in the stars they knew they would face. It together. Because now, their hearts belonged to each other. The sun was bright as it rose over the mountain valley. Birds sang, and the wind moved gently through the trees. The world felt alive, full of promise. But inside the small cabin, Rena sat quietly, her eyes fixed on the worn wooden table. She no longer carried the weight of her old life. The Varnan had exiled her because of her choice. They had cut her off, leaving her alone on a strange planet. Yet, for the first time, she felt free. Tommel entered the room, carrying a basket of fresh fruit and herbs. He smiled when he saw her. "Good morning, Rena. I brought some apples." She looked up and returned his smile. "Thank you, Tommel." He placed the basket on the table and sat beside her. "You seem calm today. How are you feeling?" Rena thought for a moment. Strange, free, but also uncertain. Tommel nodded. "It's normal to feel that way. Change is never easy." She reached out and took his hand. "You have helped me understand more than you know." In the days that followed, Rena began to learn what it meant to live without rules. She woke when she wished. She chose her work and her rest. She explored the forest, touched the soft leaves, and listened to the songs of birds. Tommel showed her how to grow plants and cook simple meals. She enjoyed these small acts of care. They were new to her, but they felt important. One afternoon, Rena sat by the stream, watching the water flow. Tommel joined her and tossed a small stone into the river. "Do you miss your home?" he asked gently. She looked at the moving water. "Sometimes, but this place feels more like home than I expected." Tommel smiled. "Maybe home is not just a place. Maybe it's where your heart feels safe." Rena looked at him, her eyes soft. "My heart feels safe here." Rena knew she could not stay hidden forever. Her alien technology was fading. She had to find a new way to live. Together, they began to repair the damaged parts of her ship. It was small and old, but it held memories of her past. She showed Tommel how the controls worked. He listened carefully, fascinated. "This could be our new home," she said one day. "Not just mine." "Or yours?" Tommel nodded. "A place where we both belong." They worked side by side, building hope with every bolt and wire. As weeks turned 2 months, Rena grew stronger in her new life. She learned to smile without fear. She laughed at Tommel's jokes and joined him in his daily routines. One evening, while they sat by the fire, she spoke softly. "Tommel, I want to tell you a secret." He looked at her, curious. "When I first came here, I thought humans were strange, wild, unpredictable." She smiled. "Now I know they are something else. They are kind, brave, full of heart." Tommel reached out and touched her cheek. "And now you are part of that." Rena leaned into his hand. "I want to stay with you." He smiled warmly. "You don't have to say it twice." But life was not without challenges. One day, a strange ship appeared near the mountain. It was small but advanced, hovering silently above the trees. Rena's heart pounded. "They have come back." Tommel took her hand. "Whatever happens, we face it together." The ship sent a message. The Varnan leaders spoke, demanding her return. Rena looked at Tommel. "I cannot go back. Not now. Not ever." Tommel nodded. "Then we must prepare." Together, they gathered supplies and reinforced the cabin. They built small defenses using both human tools and alien tech. Rena felt the weight of her choice, but also the strength of her love. That night, as stars filled the sky, Rena sat by the fire. She took out her small recorder and spoke softly. "This is Rena, former Scout of Varnus. I have chosen exile for love and freedom. Earth has taught me to feel, to care, to live." She paused. "I do not know what the future holds, but I know one thing." She looked up at the stars, her voice full of hope. "My heart belongs to this world, to the human who saved me, to the life I choose." Tommel joined her, wrapping a warm blanket round her shoulders. They sat in silence, watching the fire. Rena leaned on him. "Thank you for saving my heart." He smiled. "You saved mine first." They stayed close, knowing that whatever the future held, they would face it together. The first light of dawn spread softly over the mountain. The world was quiet, filled with promise. Inside the cabin, Rena and Tommel sat near the fire, their hands joined. The long days of fear and uncertainty were behind them now. They had chosen a new path, one not ruled by orders or missions, but by love and hope. Weeks had passed since the last visit from the Varnan. The alien ship had come, but after seeing Rena's resolve and the strength of her new bond, they had left without fight. Rena had made it clear she would never return to Varnas. She was no longer a scout or a soldier. She was something new. Tommel looked at her with a soft smile. What will you do now? Rena thought for a moment. Live, learn, be free. Tommel nodded. And I will be with you. She smiled, her heart full. You saved me from loneliness. I want to save you from it too. They laughed together. The sound warm and bright. Life settled into a quiet rhythm each day. They woke to birdsong and fresh air. Tommel taught Rena how to plant seeds in the garden. She helped him repair tools and build small machines from her alien knowledge. They shared stories by the fire, sometimes in silence, sometimes with laughter. Rena discovered the beauty of simple moments, the taste of fresh bread, the feel of soft rain, the glow of a sunset. One evening, as the stars appeared, Rena looked up and spoke softly. I wonder if my people will ever understand. Tommel took her hand. Maybe one day. But until then, you have your own family here. She nodded. Yes, you. He smiled. And you? They made plans for the future. Rena would teach Tommel about the stars and her technology. Tommel would show her the wonders of Earth, the forests, rivers, and people. Together, they dreamed of a life where differences did not divide, but brought strength. One morning, a soft sound came from the forest. Birds song, clear and bright. Rena listened and smiled. The heart knows its home. Tommel wrapped an arm around her, and it knows who to trust. They stood together, facing the dawn. The world was wide, full of possibility. Rena's recorder lay on the table, silent now. Her last message had been sent, carrying hope to the stars. She no longer needed to speak to her old world. Her new story was here with Tommel, on Earth. As the sun climbed higher, Rena looked at Tommel with love shining in her eyes. Thank you, she whispered, for showing me what it means to be human. He smiled gently. Thank you for teaching me what it means to love. Together, they stepped outside into the morning light, ready to face whatever came next, for their hearts were bound not by duty, but by choice. And in that choice, they found freedom.